Evolution and revolution. Do you remember the very first time you used a mobile phone? Perhaps as a child. Or maybe you didn't use one but you watched someone use it. Must have been very fascinating. Now compare that time with today. You'd agree that a whole lot has changed and we're a very long way off from where we were 10 or 15 years ago. We experience this phenomenon in almost every facet of life, and it's largely a result of evolution and revolution. My siblings and I were enchanted and filled with wonder when my dad got his first phone many years ago while we were still kids. It was the popular Nokia 3310, which was one of the top phone models back then. I still remember the sweet smell of newness when it was unboxed. We would gather around him whenever he was making a call, in awe of how someone could communicate with a wireless device in real time with another person that was hundreds of miles away. We used to play Snake Game and other 2D games on the phone, and it was fun. Sounds funny now, but fast forward to the present day, even a child would hardly be thrilled by a Nokia 3310 because there are now far more sophisticated gadgets in circulation. What happened? Evolution and revolution. There's a saying that the beautiful ones are not yet born. With the rate of change in the society, many of the things we consider beautiful or awesome today may not mean anything to us in just a couple of years from now. But this is not the main catch for today's notes. The main message is that evolution and revolution are taking place slowly but surely. Undoubtedly, majority of people who use first generation mobile phones back then would find it difficult to use the same phones today. The reason is simple. Things have changed, society has changed, our needs have changed, and what worked for us back then may not fit in today. And when I say revolution in the context of evolution and revolution, I'm referring largely to industrial revolution. So far, the world has undergone a number of industrial revolutions and we are currently on the fourth. You can do a quick Google search to give you more insights about what industrial revolutions are all about, but let's stay on course. The workplace is now very different from what it used to be pre-COVID-19. Many of the jobs that existed then do not exist anymore, but there are also lots of new jobs now available. You've probably heard buzzwords like the metaverse, cloud computing, and one that is very popular right now, AI, or artificial intelligence. Every other day we hear about AI and how it's transforming the workplace. People are scared that AI will make them redundant, but being scared is not the solution. When you think about it, if you've ever generated answers to a question using ChatGPT or a similar AI tool, or designed your work using some AI designer, or resolved the problem faster using an AI assistant, or even saved yourself stress by telling Siri on your iPhone to set an alarm, you can't blame people who prefer to do things with AI rather than doing them manually. I personally use AI tools literally every single day of my life right now. Was I efficient before? Yes. But is there a leap in my efficiency and speed when I use AI tools? You bet. You need to keep in mind that under normal circumstances, people would not just hire you merely because you have a degree or because you can do a job. The real question is this: compared with other available options, taking economics, time, and quality into consideration, are you the best person or tool for the job? Notice I said person or tool. I bet you won't pay someone to do a job when a free AI tool can do the same thing faster and with a higher quality. Now to the question of whether or not AI will take over your job, the truth is that many job roles will become redundant in the coming years simply because of the advent of AI and the fourth industrial revolution. However, I usually tell people that ultimately, the race is not necessarily between humans and AI. On the contrary, it's between humans that can use AI and humans that cannot. AI may be smart, but it certainly can't take away all the jobs. In many cases, people still need to interact with AI tools because many jobs still require more than just artificial intelligence. The human factor is also necessary too. Just in case you do not know, even with how easy it is to use tools like ChatGPT, there's something called prompt engineering, and you can Google it later. We all have access to ChatGPT, but the kinds of questions you ask determine the kinds of answers you get. Now, there are people who get paid for knowing how to ask tools like ChatGPT the right questions. Let me come back a bit. Today's note is not about AI, even though I've used AI analogies lavishly. Today's note is about navigating evolution and revolution. In a recent note, we talked about change. Evolution is usually a result of small changes over time that ultimately aggregate into a quantum leap when considered together. The good thing is that evolution takes place gradually. The bad thing is that many people do not notice the small gradual changes taking place, and then they feel left behind when they look back and suddenly realize that things have evolved over time. With everything I've said, what is the way forward? The way forward is to try your best to stay updated as much as possible with little changes that occur in whatever industry you decide to play in. If you're finding it difficult to keep up with the changes in your field, there's a good chance that you're focusing on too many things and playing in too many fields, and you may need to streamline as soon as possible and channel the bulk of your energy into one area, especially if you have a choice. So in a nutshell, here are the key takeaways from today's notes. A lot of the things that were considered fascinating many years ago have become obsolete today. In the same way, many of the skills that were in demand years ago are no longer useful, or at least have become a lot less relevant. If this happened before, you can bet that it will happen again. It's already happening. A lot of the trending gadgets and skills we have today may not be useful in 5 or 10 years. With each industrial revolution, lots of things changed. People lost their jobs and new opportunities were created. In responding to evolution and revolution, there are two kinds of people. Those who gradually adjust to the changes and keep up with the evolution, and those who refuse to move and get left behind. AI has become one of the major buzzwords that we hear every other day, even in general conversations. Not everybody really understands the concept of AI. Fewer people know how to use the tools. Even fewer people will be involved in building AI tools. Now, there's a brooding fear among the general populace that AI will take over their jobs. And to this dilemma, my response is that ultimately, it's less of a race between AI and humans, and more of a race between humans that can use AI and humans that can't. How do you stay relevant in the changing landscape? How do you escape being swept off by the wave of evolution and revolution? The answer is to do your best to adjust to the small changes that make up the overall evolution and revolution, as the case may be. To a large extent, these changes may not be within your control, so your only options may be to adjust or get left behind. I trust you to make the right pick, and it all begins today. Alright, this is where we wrap up today's notes. You may not understand everything I've said, but feel free to listen again and also make your own findings. It appears that Spotify comments have been disabled with the latest changes on the platform, so you can leave your comments on YouTube. I'm always happy to hear your feedback. Please share this with someone if you found this useful. Subscribe and follow to get notified when new episodes drop. Till I come your way again, keep being amazing. My name is Murphy Nnamdi Ochoba.